And this thing is amazing. I got it for $1,200. We've got a total length shorter than most trucks and most vans, yet more space inside of this. Parallel park it anywhere in the city, park it in grocery store, mall parking lots, whatever. Chevy 2500 to 22, factory, 4-wheel drive, no $20,000+ conversions, no Bubba conversions, nothing that you can't have handled either at a Chevy dealership or with parts at an AutoZone. We've got single rear wheel here. Now, this is something I didn't even think about at first, but before I made this purchase, I'm really glad I did, because on this vehicle that I've converted to a camper, I spent a lot of time on sand dunes in really deep, soft sand. And single rear wheels, you're able to air down a lot further than on dual rear wheel. A difference between even 18 PSI down to 12 PSI, which I ran on this other vehicle when I got on the sand dunes, is a night and day difference. So having a single rear wheel for the places that I like to go was vital. Now, eventually we're gonna go with just slightly wider tires, same diameter, and with a bead grip or a street legal bead lock. I don't know that there are that many options out there, and they're expensive, so I'm not in a hurry. We're not headed to sand dunes anytime soon. But for me, single rear wheel, as short as possible, factory 4-wheel drive, and I wanted to get a flatbed that I could install extra storage in, because we did a standard cab, very intentionally to keep it short. But the more space you have for things that you need to get out of a bind, the better, and it's just nice to have room. So each side has 3 boxes. So we got 2 under the bed, and then a big one that I installed, same thing on the other side. So overall, that layout there, I don't think you are going to find a more practical setup. More storage with less space, and again, a legitimate factory 4-wheel drive. So terribly important. Another great thing about this vehicle, because of its weight, it's eligible for a lot of extra tax benefits. My business is an LLC that I use for my content as well as my marketing company. And this vehicle, I believe it's over 6,000 pounds, but under 16, I'd have to double check that. But I made sure it was in the right target weight so I could maximize the tax write-off. And I'm essentially getting $6,000 off of my tax bill, and the interest on this across 5 years is about $6,000. So basically got the vehicle at 0% APR, and we all know the value of the dollar is going down. So by the time I'm making the last payments on this, I'm paying less than what I bought it for without any interest. So let me take you inside next. I'm 6 feet tall. There's a good amount of headspace in here still. Got a queen size bed up there and a nice size couch, little table to work on here. Got my kitchenette, got propane for the stove here, for the stovetop, and a propane furnace. But I've also got house power, I've got shore power right now. So we've got our fireplace down here, which obviously that's not actual fire, but it really adds to the ambience in this space. It's amazing. I mean, when I'm laying up there and I wake up and I look down here, it feels like I'm in the Taj Mahal compared to spending a year camping out in an SUV on a beach in California, and almost a year and a half total in that vehicle. Spent another 3 months in a $500 van, but finally gotten to the point now that I've bought this piece of land, and this is a part of the master plan. The land has a well. There's almost no building restrictions. I can camp in this as long as I need to while I'm building that land out, and the plan is to do it with cash. Now, is that realistic? I don't know yet, but I'm gonna keep pushing towards that, and if it just isn't possible, there's some reason to finance something, you know, we'll figure it out then. But the mission and goal is to have as little debt as possible, to be in a self-sustaining place. I have my place that my bug out spot that I can always come back to. It's a rural spot. It's surrounded by national forest, hot springs, national parks, ski slopes, but it's a bit remote still. I don't know if you noticed the little black box down here, but this is a home Wi-Fi setup. So that's what you would put in a home office in your house. Outside, I've got a generator, and you didn't see this, but I've got a 1152 watt hour Blue Eddy power source, as well as a 400 watt solar panel. And we've got the propane and then we can also plug into the wall. And the great thing is with that solar battery, it charges it over 300 watts, which is really fast. That's big, at least for what I'm used to. At the same time, if I'm running the generator and I really need to fast charge it, it'll charge it a little over 1,000 watts, which is about an hour from empty to full. Without the heater on and without running a lot of electronics, the fridge itself pulls a little bit less than 100 watts. My coffee maker, which I have down here put away, that pulls 600 watts. This fireplace pulls 1,500 watts, and that directly correlates to the watt hours. I actually made another video just about solar and power consumption. We'll see if I remember to put a card on whichever side of the screen it pops up here, so you can check that out if you're more interested in learning a little bit more about electronics, getting off the grid, and being self-sufficient without having to have a power source to plug into, and without having to have a generator too. To me, it makes an awful lot of sense, because I mean, this is a long-term plan to build out that property and to do a lot of traveling and create a lot of content. So I have to be as self-reliant, as resilient, as self-sufficient as possible. And we're probably going to go from the T-Mobile Wi-Fi setup that I have here to Starlink, because I am going to be in remote locations. It costs more. I don't need it quite yet. The possibilities of what you can invest in to make yourself self-reliant and make the content cool, there's really no end to it. But for most of us, we do have budget limitations, and you have to kind of ladder into things. One thing I don't have yet, which I do plan on installing eventually, is a winch. I've got tow straps. I've got a come along, which is a handheld winch that you basically crank with your arm. And I don't want to be overconfident or cocky, but I'm very conscious. I've spent a lot of time off-road throughout my life, and am pretty good at recognizing limits and not trying to push them. But this is a new vehicle. This is heavier than I've ever had before. I am definitely cautious, concerned if I end up in really deep, soft sand, like on the dunes out in Pismo Beach, out in Oceano, California, where I was with the Suburban. I would want to have a little bit of a buddy plan going on the first time getting in and out of there. There is no end to the different cool, fun, and creative ways you could set up your own Nomad rig. But once you've done it for a while, this is round 3 for me. This is 9 years since my first van to this point, and I spent almost 2 years out living and camping in these things. And you figure out real quick, what's practical. Being short, very practical. Having lots of storage, very practical. That's also right here. I have removed, this came with a porta potty with a black water tank. That is not something I want to deal with. I do have a folding porta potty that uses bags. I'm pretty strategic. I have a very planned nutritional plan, workouts and everything. I'm on a schedule. I always know where to be. So that's a backup. That's an emergency. It's great to have. Haven't had to use it, but I can tell you one thing's for sure. I do not want to store black water, carry that around and empty it out. And I'm riding solo, so I can be as strategic as I need. When you've done this on such a primitive level like I have in the past and made it work well, this is simple. It's probably a little cluttered in there, but you might as well see it. This is I got a really big storage for all my toiletries and stuff back there. I can't see where the camera's pointing now, but this gives you a basic idea. Got a little bit of my home rig air conditioning system there still. As you're considering all the different options out there for van life, for overlanding, it's all trade-offs. This is not going to get you to as hardcore of off-road places as a lighter weight pop-up camper. It's going to be a lot more agile than one of those big truck campers that hangs off of the back and has pop-outs, and everything here between the camper and the storage, we're probably looking at about 2,500 pounds. In the future, someday, I do want a little bit smaller and lighter camper, but man, this thing is amazing. For $1,200, I've been in it for 3 months now. I've been through plenty of rainstorms, no leaks. I've got curtains right now being made, so I've got towels over these because we've had it came with some pretty atrocious curtains. Well, especially the one that was right here. Maybe you'll see in some of my early videos. It was like pink with sticks and stuff on it. Just back here, same color as the couch, just didn't seem good for sitting there creating podcasts and such. As you're kind of thinking of what your next Nomad rig is going to be, things that you want to really keep in mind: length, four-wheel drive. How can you have four-wheel drive without having to spend $200,000 on a Sprinter van with less power than this, that's harder to park, less ground clearance? You know, how do you do this without buying a camper or a van that you spend over $20,000 to have converted to four-wheel drive, and then is not as easy to service as just a stock factory setup? I thought about lifting it, and it doesn't make much sense, because this is, I mean, I plan on taking this thing to Alaska. I plan on taking this thing probably to Mexico. Like, I'm going to be on the highway a lot. So as time passes, if it becomes more of a, you know, a need for a more gnarly off-road setup, you know, maybe we'll reconsider. And, you know, another thing I'm thinking of is actually having 2, possibly even 3 different campers to put on it for different circumstances. Having a pop-up to do some more hardcore off-roading. I don't see this happening anytime soon, but maybe one of the bigger, heavier ones with pop-outs. It's unnecessary for me right now. This works great solo. I know where everything goes. I know how to move around. This would be really challenging with 2 people. Not saying it's not possible, but it's not my style. If I were to, say, be in a relationship with another adventurous Nomad lady, I would want her to have her own rig. I can't imagine sharing this space with 2 people. It's perfect for 1, but again, everybody to each their own. You got your own preference. You know how you and your partner work well. Also, a pointer for all of this, if you haven't done it yet, you will realize really quick that having your own little space can be amazing. I mean, I love it. I can go anywhere. I can park on a beach. I can park on a mountain. I can park anywhere I want with beautiful views. I can sit, work on my laptop, focus. But if it's disorganized, if things are out of place, if it's cluttered, if it's dirty, it is not an enjoyable space. It's not a productive space. I can't be creative. It makes me anxious. And I'm not like a neat freak. I mean, maybe over the years I've become more and more organized, but I would not consider myself any sort of a neat freak. But once you do this for a little while, you get into a habit really quick of putting everything away all day, every day as things go. It never gets out of place or cluttered. I mean, even when I'm cooking meals, I'm putting things away along the way. So it's something that be aware of, be conscious, get your routines, know where everything goes. You know, when you get up, let's say if you are in a SUV or a van that has a lot less space, and there's things like beds that you have to put away, bedding that you have to put away to live in your space, make that part of your daily early routine. Get that all put away and organized so you're in this nice space that you enjoy being in, and not just feeling like a bum in the middle of a trash pile, because it's so easy for this Nomad vehicle life for people to, you know, just leave a couple items out of place and it feels like the whole thing is in a shambles. I'll take it out to a nicer place where you can get better views of it outside. You know what to do if you want to help me out here or see more of me. Just a little click or 2 makes a big difference.